Welcome for yet another session in organizational behavior. Organizations are artificial beings, like we said. They are made of people. They do not exist without people. So they are made of people, and these people come from different backgrounds. Therefore, it is very important for us to understand the behaviors of these people, how they come together and work together, what might affect their working together and things of that nature. So that is why it is very important in this session to understand organizations and their behaviors. Why do we study organizational behavior? The rationale and aim of the module. Here we understand that a comprehensive understanding of organizational behavior is essential for effective management. Why? Because once you understand the individuals you're managing, then you're able to make them deliver. Remember, organizations are made to achieve particular goals and objectives. But if you don't understand the behaviors of your people, how you are going to motivate them, then it becomes very difficult to achieve organizational effectiveness. In every department within an organization, all management involves management of people and inherently about organizing, influencing, and modifying their behaviors. Altogether, it is very, very important if you're managing people to know how do you organize them, how do you influence them, how do you change their behaviors so that you're able to attain what you want to achieve as an organization. We are yet to examine the behavior of individuals and how they interact with each other in different workplaces, as you will see. What are the objectives of this module, organizational behavior? We are going to understand the nature of business, of the business organizations and its determining characteristics. We are going to understand the basis for conflicts and cooperation in employee relations. We will be able to distinguish between leadership, power, and authority and understand the nature of decision making. We'll be able to recognize different organizational structure and how they be aware of how the structure of an organization is changing as a response to a changing environment. We'll be able to explain organizational behavior, challenges in workplaces. We will illustrate the impact of perception, personality, and emotions. We will articulate the impact of values, attitudes, and influences of diversity. We will describe the major motivational theories that affect the workplace. We will be able to critique the most popular basis of power in organizations. We will be able to describe individual and group, creative and ethical decision making, among others. Those are the reasons as to why we are going to study the module in question. What are some of the topics that we are going to cover? One, we are going to have an introduction to organizational behavior, which entails the importance of organizational behavior, factors that affect organizational behavior, the concept of organizational behavior, the scope, and things of that nature. We are also going to explore the personality, the perception, and attributes. All of those ones are in one. What is personality? Reasons for studying personality, the moderating factors for personality, the major personality attributes, the theories of personality, and things of that nature. Two, we are going to look at perception, the perception process, how people perceive different things, different situations, how to manage perceptual process, the importance of perception in organization, stages of perception, causes of perception disorder, among others. We're also going to look at attribution briefly, and we will move to attitudes and values. What is an attitude? Components of an attitude, the moderating variables for attitude, barriers to changing attitudes, types of attitudes, etc. Then values, as we move on. We're also going to see learning. What is learning? The components of learning, factors affecting learning, theories of learning, and things of that nature. I put there motivation in our content page or in the course outline, but we are not going to cover it. Remember, we covered motivation in the management. Remember, principles of management. We covered motivation. Because this module is very wide, we are just going to talk about it as it is here, but we are not going to cover it. Remember, it is also going to be covered in human resource management, so we can't keep repeating ourselves as we move. Still, in principles of management, there must have been group dynamics, but because we are dealing with people, we can't leave it out because it is very important in organizational setting. As you will see, types of groups, reasons for joining groups, why people join groups, and things of that nature, and decision making as it is. We are not going to leave that one out. So is the teams in an organization, because they are formed. The next one is going to be leadership, like motivation. We covered that in principles of management, and we cannot keep repeating ourselves. So we've just highlighted it on the menu, but we are not going to cover it. We're also going to have conflict management and stress management in an organization. What is a conflict? How important is it in an organization? What causes conflicts, and how can you manage them? We're also going to look at stress management. Because of work and work environments, people cannot miss out to have stress. And sometimes it's not caused by the work environment. Sometimes it is caused by personal factors. So therefore, we need to understand the sources of stress, the effects of stress on the job, the consequences of stress, and methods of managing the stress. Then we might, if we have the time, we might look at the organizational culture, change management, and organizational, the structure of an organization. When we're looking at the organizational culture, we're going to look at the elements of organizational culture, types of organizational culture, the type, how to create a sustainable organizational culture, and things of that nature. We're going to look at change management, causes of organizational change, liabilities of organizational change, Carl-Lewin's forces field analysis, importance of organizational change, among others. Then structure of an organization. Then we're going to look at organizational power and politics. It is quite very important for an organization or for management in an organization to understand the sources of power, how power is acquired, theories of power, but also we're going to emphasize the politicking, levels of politics in an organization, political tactics, and things of that nature. So those are the areas that I think we're going to emphasize in our meeting. And also I was able to come up with a reading list that you will be able to go through if you happen to go to the library and things of that nature. Let us have an introduction to organizational behavior. What is organizational behavior? Why do we need to understand organizational behavior? Here we say that the study of organizational behavior is very interesting and challenging too. Take note of that. Why? Because people are not easy to understand. Remember, organizations are made of people, and you have to have them work together to achieve organizational goals. So that is what makes it comprehensive and very interesting. It is related to individuals and groups of people working together in teams. The study becomes more challenging when situational factors come in. The study of organizational behavior relates to the expected behavior of an individual in an organizational setting. How are you supposed to behave in an organization? No two individuals are likely to behave the same, as you will see in the particular work situation. It is this predictability of a manager about the expected behavior of an individual. There are no absolutes in human behavior. It is the human factor that is contributory to the productivity. Hence, the study of human behavior is very important. Great importance, therefore, must be attached to the study. Researchers, management practitioners, psychologists, and social scientists must understand the very credentials of an individual, his background, social framework, educational update, impact of social groups, and other situational factors on behaviors. Therefore, managers under whom an individual is working should be able to explain, predict, and evaluate and modify human behavior. A manager should be able to understand that someone is in a particular situation and they need to be uplifted in one way or another. I will still, the causes and effect relationship plays an important role in how an individual is likely to behave in a particular situation and its impact on productivity. An appropriate organizational culture can modify individual behavior. The field of organizational behavior strives to ensure that the behavior of an individual and group can be directed as desired. Organizations are composed of a number of individuals working independently and collectively in teams, and a number of such teams makes a department, and a number of such departments makes an organization. It is a formal structure, and all departments have to function in a coordinated manner to achieve the organizational objectives. It is therefore important for all employees to possess a positive attitude towards work, to love work. They need to function in a congenial atmosphere and accomplish assigned goals. It is also important for managers to develop an appropriate work culture. Take note of that. Because you want people to work and attain organizational goals, you have to make sure that they want what they are doing. How do you enforce that? By making sure that you communicate appropriately, by making sure that you have an adequate working environment, by making sure that you put them in teams that they can work without any issues arising. Therefore, organizational behavior can be defined as the understanding, prediction, and management of human behavior, both individually or in a group, that occur within an organization. Organizational behavior also is the study of how people behave both individually within informal and formal groups. Every organization's performance is ultimately dependent on the motivational levels of its human resources and the willingness and ability of people to work harmoniously and effectively towards the accomplishing of shared goals. How do we then define organizational behavior? Organizational behavior is a field of study that investigates the impact that individuals, groups, and organizational structure within the organization for the purpose of applying such knowledge towards improving organizational effectiveness. The above definition has three main elements. One, we have organizational behavior, which is the investigative study of individuals and groups. Secondly, the impact of organizational structure on how the human behavior, and the third one is the application of knowledge to achieve organizational effectiveness. Organizational behavior involves integration of studies undertaken relating to behavioral sciences like psychology, sociology, anthropology, economics, social psychology, among others. Therefore, organizational behavior is a comprehensive field, take note of the word field, of study in which individuals, groups, and organizational structure is studied in relation to organizational growth, culture, in an environment where impact of modern technology is great. The aim of the study is to ensure that human behavior contributes towards growth of the organization and a greater efficiency is achieved. Organizational behavior also can be defined as the study of and application of knowledge about human behavior related to the other elements of an organization, such as structure, technology, the social system, among others. When we look at organizational behavior, like any other subject or module, they are what we call contributing fields to the subject. And like we said, that we are looking at people, what makes a person work with other people. The contributing fields are: number one, psychology. Psychology is an applied science which attempts to explain how human behavior in a particular situation and predicts actions of individuals. Psychologists have been able to modify individual behavior largely with the help of various studies. For example, if someone is is hungry, how are they going to behave when you give them work? If someone feels they're supposed to stop work at 4 and you give them work to complete, which might consume like 2 hours, how do you expect them to react? If someone is given a reward or communicated to in a praising way, how do you expect them to react? So that is psychology. It is a mind game. And number 2, we have sociology. Here, the science of sociology studies the impact of culture on group behavior and has contributed to a large extent to the field of group dynamics, the roles that individuals play in the organization, the communication, the norms, the status, the power, the conflict management, formal organization theory, group processes, and group decision making. All of these ones are very important. We've said that the culture that someone comes from is very important in an organizational setting. For example, there are some cultures where lying is not normal, and then there are some cultures where lying is okay, and they even say I was joking, and then someone can get offended because you told them a lie. So you have to understand the humans and their backgrounds and their cultures. 3, we have political science here. Political science has contributed to the field of organizational behavior. Stability of government at national level is one major factor for promotion of international business and finance management, among others. We also have social psychology. Working organizations are formal assembly of people who are assigned specific jobs and play a vital role in formulating human behavior. Then we also have anthropology, which is a field of study related to human activities in various cultural and environmental work frames. What is the importance of the module in question, that is organizational behavior? One, it helps to explain the interpersonal relations employees share with each other, as well as their higher and lower subordinates. It predicts the individual behavior in an organization. It balances the cordial relations in an enterprise by maintaining effective communication. It assists in marketing. It helps managers to encourage their subordinates in any change within an organization. It can be made easier, among others. Organizational components that need to be managed. What must be managed as far as organizational behavior is concerned? Number 1, there is need to manage people. People are the main component of any organization that has to be managed. Every individual has a personal goal to achieve. Organizations must identify the need spectrum of individuals and take suitable steps for its fulfillment to enable them to perform effectively so that they complete their allotted task in time. 2, we need to manage the structure of an organization. There are 2 types of organizations. There is what we call the formal structure, and there is what we call the informal structure. Organizational structure is such organization is hierarchical in nature, with people at each level having their own objectives, which contributes towards fulfillment of overall organizational objectives. We need to manage technology. Managing technology is an attempt and very important job of any management. It is an important element of any unit. The jobs. This is an assignment assigned to every individual. It encompasses various tasks within it. Then the processes, then the external environment. All of those ones have to be managed. Then we have concepts of organizational behavior. These are made of 2 elements. The first one is the nature of people and the nature of the organization. The nature of people is the basic qualities of a person, or the characteristics that personifies an individual, and they can be similar or unique. Some major factors affecting nature of people have been highlighted as below. 1, we have individual differences, we have perception, we have a whole a person, we have a motivated a personal behavior, we have value of people. And then 2, we have the nature of the organization. The state states the motive, objective of the firm. In short, it defines the character of the company by acting as a mirror, a reflection of the company. Let us take a quick look at all these factors in the nature of the organization. One, we have the social system, we have the mutual interest, and we have the ethics. And we also have to look at the scope of organizational behavior. How far can it stretch? One, it looks at the individual behavior. Two, it looks at how individuals interact with one another. And three, how different groups in an organization do interact. Three, we have the models of organizational behavior. The models of organizational behavior include one, the autocratic model, which is concerned with power. Two, we have the custodial model, which is concerned with economic resources and how they can be managed in an organization. Three, we have the supportive model, which is concerned with leadership within an organization. And four, we have the collegial model, which is concerned with partnerships within an organization. And that is that as far as the introduction to organizational behavior is concerned.